This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and I'm ready to present for you yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. This is your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories you may have missed, with a little added context, we like to think. And today, 9 stories, supersized in the headlines to get into, including, if you're watching the video, the teaser graphic, and we're talking about that guy, Mark Meadows, who I mislabeled as Jenna Ellis, but she's in there too. We got plenty of news to get into, a lot of big stuff last night coming through late night to get in there, and you responded with a lot of late night bumps. So let's get into the news stories for this day. And you want to know more about what we do at the Conversation Project? It's very simple. Go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com. That is where we house all the stuff for the Conversation Project. You can learn about us offline. We'll take that offline because you're online to get there. But when we're not doing these things, you can see more about what we do to make things happen for the Conversation Project. Today happens to be the Wednesday, October 25th, 2023 edition of the show. So thank you for being with us for here, and let's get into the headlines, shall we? Lots to do, an extra boost on the day. Vetted by you and curated by me, 9 stories for the morning, starting off with this other guy. That's Tom Emmer, whose House GOP spirals into chaos per this actual headline, as Emmer becomes the third speaker nominee to be dropped in 3 weeks. 5 rounds of voting to see if Emmer actually had the votes to be the nominee, get the 217 to actually go to the floor and get the votes. And it didn't happen. We actually did this twice in shorts yesterday. First, we talked about the fact there were 9 guys, and then in the morning, we dropped to 8 guys who were running for this spot. And then after the 5 rounds, it turns into Emmer. And then after 5 more rounds of voting to see if he actually had the actual, votes to actually go on the floor, I think it only went 3 rounds for that one. He decided to pull out of it late in the evening. Now, late yesterday evening, they actually threw out a 4th name to this race. I'm not even going to go into it. My heart's been broken too many times. We're going to just see if this thing happens and wait a couple days and marinate on this one. But right now, there is a 4th person up for Speaker of the House. There's been no Speaker for about 22, 23 days since it was vacated forcefully by Kevin McCarthy, and chaos ensues. And we're about 20, 19, 18 so days away from a government shutdown. Well, maybe not 20. I think today's the 25th, so we're about 25 days away from government shutdown. Something like that. Nothing important. Other things not so important, including these 2 headlines. First, ex-chief of staff Mark Meadows granted immunity, tells special counsel he warned Trump about 2020 claims. This is from the Jack Smith indictment, where Mark Meadows, who essentially is now known to be a pretty big liar. In fact, the part that he wrote this book, after his tales of woe from working for the president, working for the government, in that high level, which most people say are pretty much all lies there, is now been granted immunity by Jack Smith for his prosecution, for his indictment, to see what happens. And he's going to cooperate, and basically said he told Trump that, everything was false, a lie, but he played along with it. We shall see how testimony comes through, but his final chief of staff is speaking to Jack Smith's team and has spoken at least 3 times so far to see what's going on, and basically saying the team and Trump were being dishonest with the public. Not even technically, saying that Trump is basically a liar. Oh, by the way, back in Georgia, the 3rd person to flip on Donald Trump is now in the books. It is Jenna Ellis, latest Trump lawyer to plead guilty in Georgia election case, where she says she basically bought into what was going on. She says she believed people with more experience, older people who'd worked in the government so long, that there was no reason to not think they were being bad people and lying. This is sort of pointing a lot of the fingers and a lot of thoughts towards Rudy Giuliani because, he's been a lawyer so long and did so many things, and of course, America's mayor. And whatever scumbaggy thing turned into, Jenna Ellis was following along with what was going on in that life, plus other things as well. We shall see how this one plays out. As we say, the 3rd person, another Trump lawyer who has basically bowed down to the Georgia prosecution to say that Donald Trump and everything going on was wrong for that particular prosecution for overturning the election in Georgia. That was the call where he's looking for the votes. 1 extra vote, 1 vote higher than what they needed to basically get that win, which they obviously didn't get, and didn't get the votes either. Let's move on to another story. We have here, states sue Instagram parent Meta, that's Facebook, over addictive features and youth mental health harms. Dozens of states sued Instagram's parent Meta on Tuesday, accusing the social media giant of harming young users' mental health through allegedly addictive features such as infinite news feeds and frequent notifications that demand users' attention. Essentially, all the things that buzz and make you get that little spark in your brain, Instagram does it. Instagram specifically, but Facebook and everything else. Tuesday's multi-state federal suit accused Meta of violating a range of state-based consumer protections statutes and federal child privacy law, which is where they're getting the real point to this one. They're suing for the children, folks. Young users are susceptible to addiction, and the legal federal compliant plate court calls for court orders prohibiting Meta from violating that law. There's a whole lot of rambling in my statement, but essentially the point is pretty simple. Meta, or Facebook, the parent of Facebook and Instagram particularly, are being sued because all the beeps, all the flashes, all the things that force you to sort of, and I say force you because if you get that personality where you just got to see the next thing, the next hit, force you to keep going back to Instagram and seeing what's there because your brain just gets stuck on it. And young people, extremely susceptible to those sorts of triggers. Sad news announced last night the passing of Richard Roundtree, the star of Shaft, and also star of Roots and various other things across the line on his time in acting. He died at the age of 81 years old after a brief battle with pancreatic cancer. This spanned 5 decades of essentially going through time and dealing with cancer and various things. So that's something that he's dealt with a long time. That's something we've known for a while. As Shaft getting cancer was one of the things that about a decade or half so back had a lot of people going to get themselves checked out. Nominated for a Golden Globe for Shaft and Cultural Hero from that. And of course, everyone knows the theme from Shaft. The Oscar winning song won that Oscar for that year. Oddly enough, just a bunch of instrumentals, a bunch of bass lines, and then Isaac Hayes is a who's the man, and like all the chicks, just that deep voice. I could write Shaft. I probably wouldn't win an Oscar, but there we go. Plenty of other things, including many stuff. Works with Quentin Tarantino, worked with Kerry Washington in Django Unchained. A lot of stuff with also Quentin Tarantino and things on that level. Confirmed to Deadline, where we got the story by his agent and his longtime manager. A trailblazing career changed the face of entertainment around the globe. More actresses not acting so actressly like, I guess. And this goes along the tail we have this year as 2023, the year of the celebrity breakup. This one, of course, 6 years prior. We get news as Meryl Streep admits she left her husband 6 years ago after Jack Nicholson affair rumors. 6 years ago, there was an affair rumor that Meryl Streep was walking around with Jack Nicholson. And oddly enough, 6 years ago, Don Gummer, her husband, and Meryl Streep essentially separated after 45 years of marriage. They just hadn't told anybody since it happened, since 2018. It just was sort of there. She kept wearing her wedding ring for a while and kept just sort of putting up appearances. But they're legally married. They're simply separated. No one knows if they filed for divorce yet, so there's papers out there. They met in 1979 and got married 6 months later to a fairly good marriage, a nice long-term marriage. 45 years is a pretty nice run, but as we said, because we found out with the Will Smith and the Jada Pinkett Smith thing, they've not been living together for quite some time because of whatever. But Meryl Streep allegedly had affairs with Jack Nicholson about 6 years ago, and in that time, there was a breakup between her and her husband. A family sues Panera Bread after a college student drank charged lemonade and died. This is a very sad story, so I need to go check out the link and go deep in detail in this one. A student with a heart condition died after drinking what's called charged lemonade at Panera Bread. Contains more caffeine than cans of Red Bull and Monster Energy combined. One of the things that I really avoid, and I mean, I definitely don't touch, are energy drinks. I drink lots of coffee, regular coffee, but as far as things with the added chemicals and especially that much boosted caffeine because people think they need it, it's something I avoid. And this is some reasons why. Some people have issues with this. Sarah Cass was 21 years old and had heart condition and avoided energy drinks, but when she drank the lemonade, not knowing exactly what it was, it killed her. The charged lemonade is a plant-based beverage offered side by side with all Panera's non-caffeinated and less caffeinated drinks. Contains more caffeine than any size of Panera's dark roast coffee, and also guarana extract and equivalent of nearly 30 teaspoons of sugar. The guarana stuff that's in those drinks are the things I avoid because it makes my heart race when I drink it. So I don't do energy drinks for those reasons. Very sad story. Much love and much prayers going out to the family, and we'll see how this one plays out over time. Pat McAfee could leave ESPN's College Game Day because half of America hates him. This is a bit of a one of those sort of clickbaity links. He's not necessarily leaving College Game Day. He's not leaving ESPN necessarily, but a poll put out by the New York Post, I believe, shows that 48.9% of the program's viewer of College Game Day don't like Pat McAfee. And he said, you know what, the Times essentially isn't real news. We went with that. However, we don't know how far his contract goes for both Game Day and for his show that's simulcast on ESPN. So we shall see if haters are going to hate him enough to run him off from that station. And the pilot who tried to shut off engines in the plane, who now is facing like 200 counts of charges, including around like 89 charges of attempted murder for every person on the plane, may have been high on mushrooms. May have been high on mushrooms. May have been high on mushrooms. The Horizon Air flight from Seattle to San Francisco ended strangely when an emergency landing in Portland, Oregon, when the investigation by the FBI turned into whether an off-duty pilot just kind of came up while he was, tripping on mushrooms and tried to turn off the engines. We shall see how this one plays out. Definitely. Let's go to our apologies, errors, and omissions part. And right now, nothing to apologize for, but we want to note right now that it is in the books. Texas Rangers versus Arizona Diamondbacks is the Major League Baseball's 2023 championship game, or the World Series, the best of 7 series, kicking off on Friday. Here's my promo voice on Fox, and moving WWE's Friday Night SmackDown to FS1 for the night. If you're looking for where Roman Reigns and the team will be on Friday, they're not on network TV. They're going to cable just for the night. Let's move on to our teaser story and talk about the story maybe. We're going to talk about the story now and how we could talk about it maybe tomorrow and how the feeds work, how you vet the stories. Go to our feeds, our links on Facebook and Twitter at facebook.com/thisisconversationproject and twitter.com or x.com/th_conversation. And you engage in these stories we post about every 50 minutes or so on the internet in those feeds. Like them, love them, hate them, share them, and as you see them, just tell them how they do. The more engagement the story gets, the better chance we have of talking about it the next day. On the next day from today, being Thursday, we'll give you 8 stories. Today we did 9. We got a little handsy today, but we'll give you 8 stories from the top 15 of the previous day. And for Monday, we give you 10 from the top 30 of the weekend, just because we have extra days and extra time. Here's what we had talk about, or may talk about tomorrow. White Castle is rolling out fry cook robots across the U.S. These aren't like Rosie from the Jetsons out there dropping fries, but they are mechanical machines that can basically drop the fries, cook them, pull them up, and get them out of the way for you to save time, save energy, save people. Is this a good thing? Are the robots taking over? Are the machines going to take over by just feeding us too much? Maybe that's their plan. We'll talk about this tomorrow. If you deem this worthy, go to our feeds and tell us that this story or any stories that we post all day long is worthy of chatting up. Your engagement will give us the notification to do this. We're going to talk about Zenni Optical as our sponsor. They're spotlighting today. Zenni Optical is the maker of my glasses. Not wearing today, but the maker of my glasses for over a decade, and they are great makers of glasses. Why? They're inexpensive makers of glasses, and they're good glasses. Glasses for men, women, and children. Glasses of all shapes and sizes. Glasses that are designer style. Glasses with lenses that are really, really hard to break. Glasses with lenses that are really, really shady so you can see in the sunlight. Glasses with lenses that will transition in and out and keep the blue lights out of your eyes when you're working on your computer. That's not why my tint's there. My tint's there for reading and not so much for the blue light, but you get the deal. And they are inexpensive. My frames, I started buying them when they were $6.99, and now they're maybe $9.99. It's that good. And I've been doing them over and over again. And because they're so inexpensive, not cheap, inexpensive, I have multiple pairs for when I tend to drop some, lose some, get away. I don't break them often, but I tend to put them down and take about 20, 30 minutes looking for some, and then I have my backup glasses in various places so I can just get the stuff done. You can have backup glasses, front glasses, or all the glasses you need by going to Zenni Optical today. Check them out via our affiliate link at thisisaconversationproject.com/Zenni, Zenni. This is theconversationproject.com/Zenni. This is an affiliate link, as we said, so we get paid when you come into the store. We are the concierge. We are the doorman. We're the people that open up and point at things and say, check that thing out. And if you buy from them, and I'm sure you'll fall in love with them, we get a small commission. So we thank you in advance for checking out all our sponsors, including Cine Optical. We thank you in advance for checking out our website, which is This Is the Conversation Project, and in advance for what you do to keep things going on. You literally keep me going with the words coming out of my mouth by going to the feeds and telling me what stories are conversational to vet for the show. And then you tell me what to do, how things should go in and out of the show by going to your email, emailing us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com, and letting us know how to do things. You also help in other ways, going to the sponsors pages there. Commenting is also great. And people who have signed up as our partners on our partners program, go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com/partnerships, and click on that page and see if there's ways we can connect to work together to do better things together for the Conversation Project. Just like that. And just like that, we're going to wrap things up with the fun stuff. A couple things to get you out of the door, some today things that are always light and really good too. Starting off with our birthday for the day. We went from 3 now to 1. And so since we only spotlight 1 here, we're talking about Tracy Nelson turning 6 years old today. Tracy Nelson, the actor, the cancer survivor, the pretty awesome person. And why exactly are we bringing up Tracy Nelson? Well, it's pretty obvious, pretty clear. That way I can talk about her brothers, who are, of course, Gunnar and Matthew, the twins of the band Nelson. Anytime I get a chance to bring up Nelson, I bring them up. It's a thing. I'm sorry, I don't know where it comes from. Also today, some things you should know about is today's history lesson. Going to 2010, Sony took the original cassette Walkman off the market in 2010. And so the original Walkman went on sale somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s. It was, trust me, back in the day, it was the jam. It was the thing. If you had like a real Walkman, not like the Walmart version Walkman or the dollar store Walkman, the Kmart version Walkman, even worse than that. You had something that said Walkman on the front. And even as they went to digital things, they're still called Walkmans. The original cassette Walkman was taken off the market in 2010. Yes, that was 13 years ago when that died. But trust me, this was a big. Ask your parents, kids. Ask your grandparents how much a Walkman meant to people back in the day. And today's celebration for October 25th, mark that 25, October 25th, 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 2 months until Christmas. 2 months until Christmas. That's 2 months until Christmas. So this is October 25th. November 25th will be 1 month. And then December 25th will be Christmas. 2 months, 60 days. You're in the window. Start shopping now. Start putting stuff away now. Go ahead and pull out the ornaments. By God, go ahead and do. It's been a rough year. Put your tree up now. I'm not going to fight that this year. But 2 months, no excuses until Christmas. With that, we're done. No excuses, no apologies for this one. We got the show all wrapped up and ready to go for you for this Wednesday, October 25th, 2023 edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Thank you for being with us for the show. We agree. We think you're awesome. I think you agree with that as well. And we think we could use more of you. So make sure you're stopping by our feed so you can engage in the stories, so you can give us what to talk about. And of course, visit us via your email machine at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Get into my inbox, tell me what to do, and I usually do it, by the way. We also want to make sure you are staying limber, staying hydrated, and staying on task. Since we've tightened this thing up a little bit and kind of made it faster and more pithy, want to do a quick explanation of that one. It's, everyone has sort of a wrap-up saying as a sort of a sign-out, and that's the sign-out that reminds you that you are an important person to the world, so life is kind of a long-term sort of thing. So stay limber so you don't get tightened up while you're doing this stuff. Stay hydrated because you never know when that's going to happen. And stay on task. Stay focused on the things you're meant here to do, because we need you doing those things. Not just because I need watchers of the show. People out there need you as well. With that, we're wrapping things up on the day. Thank you for being a part of the family of coming into the show. 2 more shows for the rest of the week, and that's how we do this. 5 days a week, we bring you this morning update. In the morning, I do it live at 5:50 a.m. Some issues with the Facebook launching, so if you're into that stuff, that's why it's a little late on the live feed. But for all you other folks, it's just like normal. Check it out in the replays and check out the website links at our website. And be with us tomorrow to find out what stories you guys thought were most conversational for the things you might not have heard.